Welcome back to Mideast in Depth, where we'll be taking a look at the Islamic State 1 year on. Middle East correspondent for the Daily Telegraph, Ruth Sherlock, states that on first impression, the Islamic State are a group of barbarians. However, she points out, behind the violence and the bloodshed, there lies a carefully designed military strategy which is driven by hardline ideologues who follow a dogmatic interpretation of Islamic scripture. Practically, she explains, ISIS wants what the name suggests, statehood. The jihadists' actions in the past year point to a military strategy that has been meticulously pre-planned to achieve this end. The leaders have a blueprint for their caliphate and have set about making it a reality. She adds, in the first few months of its advance in Iraq, the group captured 6 oil-producing fields along with gas fields. It took most of Baji, a major industrial center, including a refinery and a power plant in north of Baghdad. She continues, in Syria, the extremists expanded their empire into the desert province of Deir ez-Zor, seizing most of Syria's oil fields and some of its gas reservoirs. Across the country, they have aimed to control power plants and mineral mines. She adds the finances have also attracted many from Syria and Iraq's beleaguered populations to their rule. With their countries in chaos, civilians have found that they can at least work and be paid salaries with which to feed their children under the Islamic State. She concludes that whilst the American airstrikes have killed a number of jihadists, they have failed to dent the extremists' morale. In fact, according to the jihadist philosophy, the airstrikes play straight into their hands. They bring them one step closer to the end of the world. Editor-at-large Francis Matthew writes in Gulf News that Iraq needs more active military support from international allies and warns that continued drift can allow Daesh or ISIS to retain control for a long term and become part of the country's politics. He states, it is all too clear that Daesh is displaying a determined resilience that the Iraqis and their allies will have to get used to. When Daesh surged into western Iraq and captured Mosul a year ago, there was a broad assumption that it would be sent packing in a reasonably short time. However, he explains, this did not happen. Daesh has displayed impressive military and civil skills, which seems to have unnerved the Iraqi armed forces, which in turn has created a major problem for Iraq's allies in the international coalition, who are relying on the Iraqis to do the ground fighting. The editor highlights that there is a disturbing disconnect between the Iraqi needs and the willingness of the Iraq's allies to commit. The danger is without more robust support from its allies, the Iraqi military will fail to retake large parts of their own country, and the alliance of forces that is Daesh will become more established. He reminds the reader, Daesh enforces its social restrictions on the whole population, but particularly on women. Entire Christian areas have emptied as people fled to Kurdistan and elsewhere. People are abducted from the streets or from their homes and taken away, sometimes to be tortured. They have even blown up Shiite mosques that did not meet their views. He concludes saying, what is profoundly depressing is that the people in Mosul must know that they are not likely to be rescued in the foreseeable future. This acceptance by an occupied population of their situation is something that the Iraqis and their allies need to move more quickly to stop. Daesh should not be allowed to establish itself and force its way into becoming a long-term part of the Iraqi political scene. For more updates, please visit Levant.tv. And subscribe to Mideast in Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.